Hello everybody, welcome to Music Theory. Today we're starting the course with Music Theory 1. Chapter 1, and that is going to be on time values and bars. As you can see from this video, we are going fairly low production values. All of the focus is going to be on the knowledge. So, let's get started. First, we're going to look at the time values. Now, modern Western notation has developed into a binary system of counting, which sounds complicated, but simply means that every single time value can be divided into two parts to form a value half as long, and we can also think that there are values that are double all of the lengths of the time values. And these are the basic time values. We have this one, we have this one, we have this one, and we have this one. Now, these are how we might see these time values floating freely in space. Normally they live on something called the staff, which we will look at later, and when they are on the staff, those time values that have tails and stems, if we take, for example, this note, we have the head and we have the tail, the stem I should say, rather. And if we take this one, we've got a head, a stem, and a tail. These stems and tails may appear upside down as the note is written higher in the staff. You could see it like this, or this other one like so. And these have exactly the same meaning. We don't need to worry about that right now, but if you were wondering because you've seen it in your music this way up, that's what's going on. In handwriting, there is also another way of drawing this bottom note. For ease, rather than the lovely curly tail that we see in printed music, we can give a very simple slash upwards, like either of these. Both of these are fine, and both of these are absolutely fine in writing answers to exercises that we'll see later. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Before we understand any more about these time values, we ought to know their names. Now, loath as I am to admit it, the Americans do have slightly better names for these than the British. I will write the British names first. So, semibreve, this one on the top, minim, crotchet, and quaver. The American names are as follows, and as we will see, they are sensible. We have whole notes, we have half notes, we have quarter notes, and we have eighth notes. And these American numerical names give us the relationship between these note lengths. That is to say that one semibreve, one whole note, is equal to two half notes, two minims, is equal to 4 crotchet notes, 4 quarter notes, and 8 quaver notes. So we can demonstrate the following. Which is also equal to 4 of those ones, also equal to 8 of these ones. Now, when we draw eighth notes, sometimes you will see them written separately like this, but you might see them joined together in groups of 2 or even 4. I'll join them in 4s, like so. And this makes these notes slightly easier to see, but these two things, they mean exactly the same thing. Okay. That also means, therefore, that 1 half note is the same as 2 quarter notes, same as 4 eighth notes. In length, obviously, they are different in that there are 4 notes versus 1 note, but they take up the same amount of musical space. They have the same duration overall in total. And these are the time values that you need to know for the first level of music theory. So take a note of them now, what they are called, how they fit together, and then we'll have a look at our first exercises. So hopefully you paused the video there and made some notes. It's time now to look at our first couple of exercises. So, have a little go at these yourself if you can, before I jump in. But if you've had a go at them now, you should hopefully have that this first one is called a semibreve, or a whole note. That this second one is a minim, or a half note. This third one is a crotchet, or a quarter note. And this one is a quaver, or an eighth note. Now, we're not yet worrying how we might string them together into an overall rhythm and then to make some music. We are literally looking at our ABCs of music. Well, not quite our ABCs, they are coming later. But we have some basic musical mathematics that we can do now in exercise 2. Hopefully you've had a go at this one as well. If you haven't, pause the video and have a go yourself. Right, so we have in our example that this minim lasts as long as 2 crotchets. This half note lasts as long as 2 quarter notes. This semibreve, this whole note, lasts as long as 4 quarter notes, crotchets, which is the same as 2 minims or half notes. And that half note itself is made up of 4 quavers or eighth notes. And this final note, this final quarter note or crotchet, is worth 2 quavers or eighth notes. So a little bit of equivalent fractions there. Okay, so now that we've done our first couple of exercises, we can have a little look at bar lines and time signatures, which allow us to group some of these symbols together into music, which we can perform, and we could perform as a group. So, in music, we separate notes and rhythmic values into what are called bars, and bars are denoted by bar lines, vertical lines. Sometimes this is given as a single word, sometimes it is given as two words. Doesn't really matter. Now, in order to decide how long a bar is, we need to tell our performers of some music how many beats there are in a bar. And at grade 1, all time signatures, as they are called, all music is written using a basic beat of the quarter note, the crotchet. And you have to learn the following time signatures. Here they are. These are time signatures. Time signatures are composed of two numbers: a top number, a numerator, and a bottom number, a denominator. Now, I hope none of you are having flashbacks to school maths. The numerator tells us how many beats there are in a bar. The denominator tells us what kind of beat, what time value we should use as our 1 beat unit. A denominator of 4 means, so n on the top for any number, means the beat unit is the quarter note, the crotchet. Therefore, those 3 lines mean therefore, 3 dots I should say. 2/4 means 2 crotchets in a bar. 3/4 means 3 crotchets make up every bar, and 4/4 means 4 crotchets in every bar. That doesn't mean, of course, that you have to always sing or play these notes in the bar. It means that the total bar adds up to that many crotchets, and that is the underlying pulse of the music. Now, there are some fancy words that go with that. 2/4. 2 with some lower value is called duple time. 3 with some denominator is called triple time. And 4 with some denominator is called quadruple time. We can do these in any speed, which is called tempo, we like, but a 2-beat pattern, duple time, would be counted 1, 2, 1, 2. A 3-beat pattern, a triple time pattern, would be counted 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And a 4-beat pattern, a quadruple time pattern, would be counted 1, 2, 3, 4. In the case of 2 and 3 time, beat 1 is the strong beat. In 4 time, beat 1 is strong, and beat 3 is also strong. Not as strong as beat 1, but it is also strong. 1, 2, 3, 4. This gives us the characteristic meter of a piece. The feel, as we might say. Now, there are all sorts of rhythms we can do, that we can create, or we can perform in each of these times, that will make it obvious what time signature our piece is in. As I said before, at grade 1, the denominators are always 4. So a little recap. 2/4, 1 bar of 2/4 contains 2 crotchet beats worth of music. It could also contain 1 half note, 1 minims beat of music, because that is equal to 2 crotchets. It could also contain 4 quavers, which we would probably join together, like so. And we can even mix and match 2 quavers and a crotchet in 3 different configurations, because they still add up to 2 crotchets worth of music. And you can do this with 3/4 and 4/4 as well, so long as your total adds up to 3 crotchet beats or 4 crotchet beats respectively. Okay, so now that we've got this, we can have a look at some exercises which are pretty instructive in how this all works. Unlike the previous exercise, which was very much summative, these exercises are quite explanatory as well. So let's look at all how this might be applied. So here are some more exercises. These lines, what are they called? Well, bar lines. We know that. That pair of lines at the end is called a double bar line. If the last one is thicker, we would actually be calling it a final bar line. We use double bar lines to denote the end of a section, and we use a thin and then a thick bar line, like so, to make a final bar line, which tells us that the piece is over. These numbers at the beginning of a piece, you can see them, these 2 numbers, one on top of the other, these are called time signatures. They tell us the meter of the music, the beat pattern. In directions such as 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4, the top number, the numerator, tells us how many beats there are in a bar. The bottom number tells you what kind of beats there are. And in grade 1, the 4 always denotes a crotchet beat. So the full meaning of 2/4 is 2 crotchet beats per bar. I should say beats to be utterly clear. And the full meaning of 3/4 would be 3 crotchet beats per bar. Now, we haven't actually learnt this yet, but there is a useful sign that can be used instead of 4/4, and it is C, and it stands for common time. You will see this in older music. The C, big C, just stands for 4/4. Okay, at this point, we ought to have a little discussion of the way that rhythm works internally. So let us consider some bars of 4/4, and I will show you some of the possible divisions of those bars by populating them with some time values. So we could have a semibreve, and if I write the beats in numbers underneath, you will notice that the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 always appear. I could also populate it with 2 minims. Notice the first minim starts on beat 1, the second on beat 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, and is held to the end of the next number. If we have 4 crotchets, it's easy to understand how the beats fit together. 4 beats, 4 crotchets. With the quavers, I'm going to join them in pairs to show the beats more easily. You will see this in music all the time. These are where the beats are. And this raises an interesting question of how should we count the off beats, the quavers that are not on beats? And we usually count them as the word and, which we denote with a plus symbol. So we would say that rhythm in that last bar as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And we could denote it like so. And if I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, you can hear that on every other clap there was no number said. That is because they are the ands. Now, you can of course mix and match to complete the bars. And this is going to be the subject of our next exercise. These exercises vary in time signature, so the total number of beats will vary. But in every case, a full bar must be completed with sufficient rhythmic values to make up what is required for a full bar. So, in the first example, where we have a bar of 2/4, we should have 2 crotchets in it. We've already got 1, so to add only 1 note to complete the bar, we can only add a single crotchet. In the second bar of exercise 5A, we have a crotchet and a quaver. That means we have 1 whole beat and 1 half beat, and we need 2, so we need to add another half beat, which we can do by adding a quaver. Note I've used the simple handwriting way of a straight tail, but if you like, you could write it with a curled tail. It's fine. In exercise 5B, we have a 3/4 bar. It starts with a minim. That means beats 1 and 2 have been covered, and we need to add a note to cover beat 3. That would be a single crotchet. In the next bar, we only have 1 crotchet, 1 beat, so in the missing space there must be a 2-beat note. So actually this bar is going to be the same as the first bar of this example. In exercise C of exercise 5, we have already got a half note, a minim, worth 2 beats. That means our asterisk needs to cover beats 3 and 4. That is a 2-beat note, a minim. In the next bar, we have the first 2 beats covered by that minim. The third beat is completely covered by that crotchet, meaning that the next note must begin on the 4th beat. This quaver is the and of that 4th beat, so we need another one. I think it might be instructive at this point for me to say the rhythm and to clap it of C. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's what we have so far. In the next bar, we have 2 crotchet beats. Already, we need 2 more, and we only have 1 note to spend, so we must use a minim, otherwise known as a half note. And in the final bar, it is completely empty. We need a 1 note that is worth 4 crotchet beats to make our total, therefore we need a semi-brief. A whole note, as the Americans would have it. And if I write in the beat numbers, we can see how the bar is filled. In the final example, we have another 4/4 set. We have 2 crotchets already. We need to add 2 more crotchets worth of music. To do that in 1 note, we need to use the minim. Here we have 2 crotchet beats in the minim, we have 1 crotchet beat in that crotchet, and we have half a crotchet beat in that quaver. So we actually have 3 1/2 beats already, so we only need half of a crotchet more, another quaver. Next, in the next bar, we have 2 crotchets and 2 quavers, separated. But overall, that makes a total of 3 beats. So we need to add 1 more, a crotchet. And in the final bar, we have 3 beats, a crotchet, and a minim. So we need to add 1 more crotchet here. Now, I want to do 2 things for you. The first is to write the beats under the final exercise because I think it is instructive. The last but 1 bar is quite useful because for the first time we have a syncopation. Now, syncopation simply is a long note or a longer note that starts off the beat. It's that crotchet that we added. It starts on the and of 3 and crosses into the first half of 4 before the quaver that was already in the bar is on the and of 4. I'm going to perform these rhythms in a minute, but to do so I'm going to use some sonifications of rhythm that you might find handy. We might say a crotchet, ta. We might say a minim, ta-ah. We might say a quaver as ti, so that 2 of them together are ti-ti. Probably double E rather than I. So, if we count, and I perhaps tap on my thigh the beat for exercise 5D, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ta 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 ti ti ta 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 ti ta ta ta. Or, if you prefer to say it with numbers, you could say 1, 2, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Notice I didn't say the numbers for the long notes, I just let them hang in the air. But I did click my fingers to where the beat is. That beat is a skeleton over which all of the rhythm lies. Let's move on to another kind of exercise. and this will be our final one for this chapter. This is a very instructive exercise that asks us to work out the time signature of some given bars. Now, they are all the same. They do not change time signature between bars in this example. In real music, you can change time signature. There's nothing stopping you. But in this example, and in grade 1, you don't have to. So, all we need to do is to count how many crotchet beats there are in each bar. Hopefully you can see the answers quite quickly. Have a go yourself now, and then I'll write the answers up. Here are the beats in the example to help you. Pause the video and have a go. Alright, so we're counting in crotchets. 1, 2, 3, 4. We can see that every bar has 4 beats in it, so 4 beats in every bar, and they are crotchet beats. That is a 4/4 pattern. It goes like this: ta, 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 ta. In the next pattern, we have ta, ti, ti, ta, 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 ta. And hopefully you can see that this is a 3-beat pattern. So this is a 3/4 rhythm. In the final example, we have ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, ti, ta, ta. This is another 3/4 pattern. Subdivided as so. I hope you feel that you've learned something from this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.